Hey, what's up everybody? In this video tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to do the Automata cam study. All right, so at this point, you should have a group with 4 people in it, and each person in that group needs to have a different cam that they're going to be studying. The 4 cams that we're going to be studying are going to be eccentric, hexagon, pear, and snail. So just remember, each person gets a different cam. Okay, once you've decided which person is going to be taking on which cam, you need to create a Google Sheet. Make sure that this Google Sheet has been shared with everybody in the group. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is come up here to cell A1, and I'm just going to type in angle rotation. And then here in cell B1, we're going to be typing in measurement. Okay. Angle rotation, below that, we're going to type in a 0 for 0 degrees. And then here at A3, we're going to be typing in an equation. This is going to equal A2. So cell A2 plus 15. So we get 15 on that one. Okay, what we're going to do now is come here to this node at the bottom right-hand corner of this cell, and we're going to pull this down until we see 345 degrees. Okay, so 345 is where we want this to stop. See if I can get it back up there. All right, well, we can just delete it. There we go. So 345 degrees. All right, so now that we have that done, what you're going to do is you're going to right click down here where it says sheet 1 and you're going to rename this. So the first one I'm going to do is eccentric cam, and then I'm going to put in a dash. I'm going to type in the first and last name of the person who is studying the eccentric cam. All right, so that's the main setup on it. Now we're going to be doing this 3 more times, but to save us some time, let's just right click on it and pick on duplicate. Okay, so I can do a rename on this one. Okay, and I'm going to be changing eccentric cam to paracam. Okay, followed by the person's first and last name who's studying it, and then we're going to duplicate this again. The rename on this one is going to go from pear to hexagon. And that's going to be followed by the first and last name of the person who's studying that, and then we're going to duplicate it one more time, rename that, and the last one we're going to be doing a study on is going to be the snail cam, and that's going to be followed by the first and last name of the person who's studying that one. All right, so we now have 4 different tabs here with the same information on it. Okay, so I'm also sharing a view-only version of an automata. Okay, and when we pick on that, this is what it is you're going to see. All right, so if we look down here, we can see one automata that has a pear and an eccentric cam in it. Another one that we have down here, if we pick on that, we can see it has the hexagon and it has the snail cam in it. All right, so the person who's going to be studying the cam has to go out there and locate the assembly which that actual cam is in. So in my case, I'm going to say I'm going to be studying the centric cam. All right, so I'm going to be pulling open that assembly. I can see that this is my eccentric cam. All right, and this is basically where I'm going to start. All right, so if we were to change this view to the right side view, we can see that there are angle marks, okay, on the side of the box. We also have our crank handle, but it has a pointer on it. All right, so if we take a look at the Google Sheet that we have, we need to find the measurement for angle rotation 0 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to physically grab this with my mouse. I'm going to take the pointer and try to get it as close to that 0 mark as you can. Okay, once we have verified that's on the 0 mark, I can switch the view on this. And now, once again, make sure that you're locating the correct cam. So in my case, I said I was doing eccentric. It's on the left-hand side. So I'm going to be doing all the measurement here on the left-hand side. All right, so to make things easier, instead of using the ruler, okay, what we can do is we can find this feature down here at the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, and there is the feature I'm talking about. It's measure. Looks like a measuring tape. So I'm going to pick on measure. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick on top of the box, and then I'm going to just zoom in here and pick on the top of the follower rod. That is then going to be giving me this distance on top. So that distance is 2.361 from the follower rod top to the top of the box. So 2.361. I'm then going to go into my Google Sheet and type in that distance of 2.361 for my measurement. I'm now going to jump back over into our automata assembly, switch this into my right side view, take my pointer, bring it up here, and bring it to 15. Like I said, it can just get somewhat close to that actual mark. That's close enough. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is come back in here and get my second measurement. So going back into measure, I'm going to be picking the top of the box and then picking the top of the follower rod. I can see that is 2.467. So I'm going back into my spreadsheet and typing in 2.467. Okay, so that was at 15 degrees. Jumping back again into Automata, switching this into my right side view. Now I'm going to be taking that pointer and bringing that up here, okay, to my 30-degree mark. Okay, it's pretty close. Bring that into an isometric view. Go back into measure, pick the top of the box, and then finally picking the top of the follower rod. I can see that is 2.568. Now I can come back in here and put in 2.568. Okay, you're going to continue on with this process until you have basically 360 degrees, okay, all with that with those measurements. Okay, so once you are done with that, okay, you're going to be looking at a spreadsheet, okay, that's going to have all sorts of measurements in it. Now, for my case, I didn't want to give you the answers for a centric cam, so it's blacked out. But trust me, there are measurements underneath this. So now what we want to do is we want to create something called a motion graph. So this is going to be showing the motion of that cam across 360 degrees. It's going to be showing you the up and down motion, okay, you know, the 360 degrees that we actually crank the crank handle. All right, and all you have to do on this is come here and you're going to highlight all the measurements in these cells in B. You're then going to come up here and go to Insert. You're going to find Chart, okay, and then this line chart's going to be showing up. Okay, we can go ahead and scoot this over a little bit. We can shrink this down in size. And then what I'm going to do is right here where it says measurement, I'm going to type in eccentric cam motion graph. Okay, so this is telling us what this is going to be doing over 360 degrees. This is showing us the motion of that cam and that rotation of the actual crank handle. Okay, now to verify that this is actually correct, we're actually going to create something called a radar graph. The radar graph is going to be showing you what the profile of the cam should look like. All right, and then we can basically take a look at the profile. If the profile doesn't look like it does in real life, then we've made a mistake with our measurements, okay, in our data. Okay, so let me show you how to create that. We're once again going to come over here and we're going to grab our measurements, okay, in our B cells. We're going to go to Insert. We're going to come up here to Chart, okay, but this time we're going to switch our line chart to this guy here, which is called a radar chart, okay. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to just dump this right below, okay, and then I can increase the size of this just like so. Okay, so this is now indicating what the profile of our cam should look like. All right, so what's interesting about this is at the very dead center of this radar graph, okay, that is indicating to us where the actual axle is that goes through the cam. All right, so I can see this and I can see, yes, the data I got is correct because that is actually the shape of an eccentric cam. Since that is the shape of the eccentric cam, all right, that is basically telling me that my motion graph is correct. All right, so just to kind of finish this up, I'm going to come up here into this label and I'm going to call this eccentric cam profile. All right, so there's a couple pieces of information we got from this. We know what all the distances are. We know what the motion graph looks like over 360 degrees. So that means we know what the behavior of the cam is. So basically the follower rod is going to be going up and it's going to continue moving and it's going to go down and then it's going to go up again and back down. So basically the eccentric cam is going to be creating some sort of a sine wave. All right, so you have to be thinking about the actions that are going to be happening in your scene on top of the automata. Maybe you want a basketball that's going to be bouncing on the floor. This would be a great cam for that. All right, so there you go. That is how we create a motion graph and a cam profile using radar graph with the information that we get, okay, for our cam study. All right, and all that information now, all right, should be in all those 4 tabs, you know, that make up your spreadsheet, your Google Sheet. All right, so that was now going to be shared with all of your partners. So everybody is going to be able to understand what the motion graph is for each particular cam, and you're also going to know what the behavior is going to be for that cam in an automata.